The ship fell from the sky like a dying star. Inside, Captain Do-yoon Kim gripped his command chair as alarms screamed around him. "Hold tight. Emergency landing procedures," he shouted over the noise. The colony ship New Hope shuddered and groaned as it cut through the thick atmosphere of planet KG-117. 200 men, women, and children clutched whatever they could find as the massive ship plunged toward the endless green jungle below. Ji-woo Park, the ship's agricultural specialist, closed her eyes and whispered a prayer. Across from her, Han Bin Lee, a quiet cynobiologist, stared at his screen showing the rapidly approaching surface. 10 seconds to impact. The computer announced flatly. The ship's emergency systems fired one last time. Trees snapped like twigs as the New Hope crashed through the jungle canopy. Metal tore. People screamed. Then darkness. Do-yoon woke to the smell of smoke and earth. His head throbbed as he pushed himself up from the floor. Emergency lights cast red shadows across the damaged bridge. "Status report," he called out, his voice hoarse. The ship's computer answered with static before finding its voice. "Hull breach in sections 3 through 7. Life support at 60%. Engine core stable but damaged beyond repair." Do-yoon closed his eyes for a moment. No going home. Casualties. 12 confirmed dead, 27 injured, 161 stable. Better than expected, but every loss hurt. These people had trusted him to find them a new home. Now they were stranded. The door to the bridge slid open with a painful groan. Ji-woo stepped through, a cut above her eye, but otherwise unharmed. "Captain, you need to see this," she said. Outside, the jungle stretched in all directions. Massive trees with purple-tinged leaves reached hundreds of meters into the sky. Strange bird-like creatures circled above the crash site. The air was thick but breathable, heavy with the scent of alien flowers. Han Bin waved a scanner over a nearby plant. Oxygen levels comparable to Earth. Gravity 97% Earth standard. Temperature moderate. "We got lucky, Captain." "Lucky isn't how I'd put it," Do-yoon said, looking at their broken ship. "But we're alive." For 3 days, they worked to set up a camp around the crash site. The injured were moved to a makeshift medical bay. Solar panels were salvaged to provide power. The ship's food stores would last 6 months if rationed carefully. By then, Ji-woo would need to have crops growing. On the 4th day, Han Bin made a discovery that changed everything. "Captain, look at this," he called from the edge of their cleared area. Do-yoon followed Han Bin's pointing finger. Half buried in the soil was a metallic structure, too regular to be natural. It gleamed with a dull silver light. "There's more," Han Bin said, leading Do-yoon deeper into the jungle. Just beyond the crash site, the ground dipped into a small valley. There, partially hidden by vines and moss, lay an entire network of metal objects. They formed patterns that reminded Do-yoon of computer circuits. "This planet is inhabited?" Do-yoon asked. Han Bin shook his head. "The scanner shows no signs of intelligent life within 50 kilometers. But these structures, they're old, very old." Tai-ho Kang, the colony's security chief, joined them. His hand rested on his weapon as he studied the metal formations. "Sir, we've detected energy readings 10 kilometers south," he reported. "Definitely artificial." Do-yoon felt a chill run down his spine. They were not alone. That night, the colonists built fires around their camp. Do-yoon called a meeting of his senior staff. "Tomorrow, I want a reconnaissance team to investigate those energy signatures," he said. "Tai-ho, you'll lead. Take 4 others. Observe only. Do not engage." Tai-ho nodded grimly. As darkness fell, strange sounds echoed from the jungle. Not quite animal cries, not quite machinery. Something between the two. Ji-woo looked up at the alien stars. "We came looking for a new home," she whispered. "And found someone else's," Han Bin finished. In the distance, something moved through the underbrush. Something large, For just a moment, Du Yun thought he saw eyes reflecting the firelight. Golden eyes, watching from the shadows. Then they were gone. The morning sun broke through the purple leaves, casting strange shadows across the camp. Du Yun checked his watch as Taiho's team prepared to leave. Each person carried 3 days of supplies, communication devices, and small weapons. Remember, Du Yun said, look but don't touch. We need to know what we're dealing with. Taiho nodded. We'll be back in 3 days. If not, send help. The 5-person team disappeared into the thick jungle. The rest of the colonists continued their work. Ji Wu and her team cleared land for planting. Han Bin studied the metal structures near the camp. Du Yun walked among the people, helping where he could. 3 days passed slowly. On the morning of the 4th day, Du Yun was about to send a search party when Taiho's team returned. Their faces were gray with fatigue and worry. Call a meeting, Taiho said. Everyone needs to hear this. The colonists gathered in the shadow of the crashed ship. Taiho stood before them, a small device in his hand. 20 kilometers south, the jungle stops, he began. It's been burned to nothing. Just ash and dirt for miles. He pressed a button on the device. A 3D image appeared in the air, a vast wasteland where jungle should be. In the center stood massive machines with spinning blades and belching smoke. They call themselves the Sexari, Taiho continued. They're mining something from the ground. The image changed to show the aliens. They stood on 2 legs but looked like giant lizards. Their skin was tough and gray. They wore armor that glowed with blue light. They have weapons, Taiho said, big ones, and ships that can fly. We watched them burn another section of jungle. They use fire that burns hotter than anything I've ever seen. Worried whispers spread through the crowd. A child began to cry. Did they see you? Du Yun asked. Taiho's face darkened. On the last day, yes, a flying machine spotted us. We ran, but... He pressed the button again. The image showed a Sexari standing over a human-sized hologram. The alien's voice was translated by their computer into harsh, choppy Korean. Your presence is noted. You have 30 CYCL East to LEVDAS area. After that, you will be removed as obvious to to resource extraction. The crowd erupted in fear and anger. Du Yun raised his hands for quiet. Can we fix the ship? Someone shouted. Han Bin shook his head. The engines are beyond repair. We can't leave. Can we fight them? Asked another. Taiho laughed without humor. With what? Our 20 guns against their army. Their technology is 100 years ahead of ours. Then what do we do? Ji Wu asked, her voice cutting through the noise. Du Yun had no answer. That night, Du Yun sat alone by a small fire. The weight of 200 lives pressed down on his shoulders. From the darkness, Ji Wu appeared and sat beside him. Han Bin found something, she said quietly, about the metal structures. Du Yun looked up. What? They're not random. They form a pattern, like a giant network. She drew lines in the dirt with a stick, like nerves in a body. Before Du Yun could respond, a scream came from the edge of camp. They ran toward the sound. A young guard stood pointing into the jungle, his face pale with shock. I saw something, he stammered. It was big, like a cat, but not a cat, with eyes that glowed gold. Where? Du Yun demanded. There. The guard pointed to a gap between 2 massive trees. For a moment, Du Yun saw nothing. Then 2 eyes appeared in the darkness, golden, intelligent, watching. The creature stepped forward just enough to be seen in the moonlight. It looked like a jaguar from Earth pictures, but larger, with strange patterns on its skin that seemed to glow faintly. The jaguar stared at Du Yun for a long moment. Then it melted back into the jungle without a sound. What was that? Ji Wu whispered. I don't know. Du Yun replied. But I think we just met the real owners of this planet. In the distance, the night sky glowed orange where the Sexeri burned the jungle. Han Bin worked through the night. His hands moved quickly over his equipment as he studied samples from the metal structures. When morning came, his eyes were red from lack of sleep, but a smile played on his lips. "Captain," he called as Du Yun passed by, "I need to show you something." Du Yun followed Han Bin to a small tent filled with equipment. A 3D map of the area around their camp glowed in the center. "The metal structures," Han Bin said, pointing to small dots on the map. "They're connected. Not just here, but everywhere." He zoomed out the map. The dots spread across a huge area, all connected by thin lines. They form a network, like a brain. Du Yun stared at the map. "What does it mean?" "I think the whole jungle is connected somehow." Han Bin picked up a plant sample. "Look at this." Under a microscope, the plant cells pulsed with soft light. When Han Bin touched it with a small tool, the cells pulled away. "It reacts like it can think," Han Bin explained. "All the plants here do. They talk to each other through the metal network." Du Yun's reply was cut short when Jae-woo burst into the tent. "You need to see this," she said, her voice urgent. "Both of you." Jae-woo led them to a small clearing where a group of colonists stood in a circle. In the middle lay one of the jaguar creatures, injured. A deep cut ran down its side, still bleeding. "We found it near the water," Jae-woo explained. "It didn't run or fight." The jaguar's golden eyes watched them with clear intelligence. Its fur was deep black with patterns that seemed to shift and change in the light. It was larger than Earth's jaguars, with powerful muscles under its sleek coat. Han Bin knelt beside the creature, careful to move slowly. He ran a scanner over its body. "This is impossible," he whispered, looking at the results. "What is it?" Du Yun asked. "It's brain activity. It's off the charts. And look at this." Han Bin pointed to his scanner screen. "Its cells have metal in them, the same metal as the structures in the jungle." The jaguar made a low sound, part growl, part purr. Its eyes never left Du Yun's face. "It's not just an animal," Han Bin said. "It's part of the network, part of the jungle itself." Later that day, the jaguar was moved to a makeshift pen where Han Bin could treat its wound. The colonists watched from a distance, curious and afraid. In his lab tent, Han Bin shared his latest findings with Du Yun and Jae-woo. "The jungle is one living thing," he explained, showing them sample after sample. "The plants, the metal structures, even these jaguars, they're all connected. The metal conducts electrical signals between them, like nerves in a body. So the entire jungle is alive, like one giant creature." Jae-woo asked. Han Bin nodded. "And it's smart. Maybe not like humans, but it can think. It can learn." "And the jaguars?" Du Yun asked. "They're special," Han Bin said. "Like white blood cells in a body. They protect the jungle. They're its eyes and ears, its hands. That's why it let us capture it." Jae-woo realized. It wanted to learn about us. A loud alarm cut through their conversation. Outside, people were pointing at the sky. A small Sexeri ship hovered above the camp, scanning. "They're checking on us," Tai-ho said, joining them. "Making sure we're preparing to leave." "But we can't leave," Jae-woo said. The ship circled once more, then flew away toward the south, where smoke still rose from burning jungle. "We have 26 days left," Du Yun said quietly. That evening, they returned to the jaguar's pen. The creature was standing now, its wound already healing faster than should be possible. As they watched, small metallic threads emerged from the ground and wove themselves into the jaguar's skin. "The jungle is healing it," Han Bin whispered in awe. The jaguar looked at them, then up at the sky where the Sexeri ship had been. Its eyes narrowed, and it made a sound like a low rumble of thunder. "I think," Jae-woo said slowly, "it hates them as much as we're starting to." Do Yoon stared at the magnificent creature. Then maybe we just found an ally. We need to decide what to do, Do Yoon said to the gathered colonists. We have 25 days before the Sexuri come for us. 200 worried faces looked back at him. The meeting was held in the shadow of their broken ship. Children sat close to their parents. Everyone waited for answers Do Yoon wasn't sure he had. Can we hide deeper in the jungle? Someone asked. Taiho shook his head. They have flying machines that can see through the trees. They would find us. What about fighting? Asked an older man. We have some weapons. Their weapons are much stronger than ours, Taiho replied. We would lose. A young engineer named Minho stood up. He was quiet most of the time, but his mind was sharp. I have an idea, he said. This planet has strong electromagnetic fields. I've been studying them. We might be able to use them to make shields around our camp. Shields, like in the old stories? Do Yoon asked. Minho nodded. The fields could push away their weapons or ships. I need time to build it, though. Start right away, Do Yoon ordered. Take whatever you need. As the meeting continued, Ji Woo slipped away to the edge of camp, where the Jaguar was now free but still staying close. Its wound was almost healed. Ji Woo had been bringing it food and water for days. Now she carried something else, a small device she and Hanbin had made. Hello, friend, she said softly to the Jaguar. The creature's golden eyes watched her without blinking. Ji Woo placed the device on the ground between them. It hummed softly as it turned on. This might help us talk to you, she explained, though she wasn't sure the Jaguar understood her words. The device projected light patterns into the air. Hanbin had designed it to translate brainwaves into simple images. The Jaguar stared at the lights, then back at Ji Woo. Slowly, the lights changed shape. They formed the image of a tree, then fire, then ash. Yes, Ji Woo whispered. The Sexuri burn your home. More images appeared. Jaguars fighting the Sexuri, being killed by strange weapons, then new Jaguars rising from the jungle. You fought them before, Ji Woo realized. The Jaguar made a low sound in its throat. The device showed a final image, Jaguars and humans standing together. Ji Woo's heart raced as she ran to find Do Yoon and Hanbin. It worked, Hanbin asked, his eyes wide with excitement. Yes, Ji Woo said. The Jaguar can communicate through the device. It showed me things. The Sexuri have been burning the jungle for years. And the Jaguars have been fighting back, Do Yoon added. Ji Woo nodded. But there's more. Each time the Sexuri burn a section, the jungle learns. The Jaguars that come after are stronger, smarter. They adapt. Like the jungle is evolving to fight back, Hanbin said. The three walked to where the Jaguar waited. More of the creatures had appeared at the edge of the jungle. 5, then 10, all watching with those same golden eyes. They want to work with us, Ji Woo said. Against the Sexuri. Do Yoon looked at the Jaguars, then back at their camp where Minho was already building his shield device. We have different strengths, he said. Maybe together we have a chance. The lead Jaguar stepped forward. Around its paws, small metal strands from the jungle network rose up and twisted together. The message was clear. The jungle itself was ready to fight. That night, as the colonists worked on Minho's shield, more Jaguars gathered around their camp. Not threatening, but protecting. Hanbin spent hours studying the way the jungle and the Jaguars connected. The Sexuri don't understand what they're fighting, he told Do Yoon. They think they're just clearing plants. They don't know the whole planet is fighting back. In the distance, the orange glow of burning jungle lit up the night sky. The Sexuri were getting closer. 23 days, Taiho reminded them. Do Yoon looked at the Jaguars standing guard around their camp. We'll be ready, he said. 14 days passed. Minho's shield generator stood at 6 points around the camp, tall metal towers that hummed with energy. The colonists had built stronger homes and deeper shelters. They were as ready as they could be. Do-yoon stood at the edge of camp with Tai-ho watching the jungle. More jaguars appeared each day. There were over 50 now, moving like shadows between the trees. "They're getting closer," Tai-ho said, pointing south. The smoke was visible above the trees now. The Sexeri were burning their way toward the human camp. "Min-ho says the shields will be fully charged by tomorrow," Do-yoon replied. Jae-woo joined them, carrying her communication device. The lead Jaguar walked beside her, no longer afraid. "They're worried," Jae-woo said, nodding toward the Jaguar. "The Sexeri ships are coming sooner than we thought." Do-yoon frowned. "How much sooner?" His answer came as a distant roar filled the air. Everyone looked up. 3 large Sexeri ships moved across the sky, blocking the sun. "Everybody get to the shelters." Do-yoon shouted. "Min-ho, activate the shields now." People ran in all directions. Parents grabbed children. The Jaguars melted back into the jungle. Min-ho raced to the control panel and slammed his hand on the power switch. The shield generators came to life with a high-pitched whine. Blue energy flowed between the towers, forming a dome over the camp. Just in time. Fire rained from the sky. Not normal fire, but something that burned white-hot. It hit the shields and spread across them like water. The ground shook. The air filled with smoke and the smell of burning. Inside the main shelter, colonists huddled together. Children cried. Adults prayed. Do-yoon stood with Han-bin and Ji-woo, watching the shield readings on a small screen. "The shields are holding," Min-ho reported, "but not for long. They're using more power than I expected." The attack lasted for hours. When night fell, the ships finally left. Do-yoon stepped outside to see the damage. The shields had protected their camp, but everything beyond them was gone. Where lush jungle had stood that morning, now there was only black ash and smoking stumps. The world had turned gray. No green remained as far as the eye could see. "They burned it all," Ji-woo whispered, her voice breaking. Han-bin knelt and touched the ash. "The metal network must be destroyed too." "What about the Jaguars?" Do-yoon asked. No one had an answer. The golden-eyed creatures were nowhere to be seen. That night was the quietest since they had landed. No jungle sounds, no wind in the leaves, just the crackle of dying fires and the soft crying of those who had lost hope. "We survived," Tai-ho said to Do-yoon. "But for what? We can't stay under the shields forever. Our food will run out. We need to." Do-yoon began, but stopped when he felt the ground shake beneath his feet. It was small at first, just a tremor. Then stronger. Han-bin's equipment began to beep wildly. "Something's happening," he said, checking his readings. "There's movement underground. Lots of movement." They ran outside. The ground was shifting. The ash moved like water with waves. Then something broke through the surface. A gleaming metal strand, like the ones from the jungle network, but thicker, stronger. More strands erupted from the ground, twisting together into complex shapes. And with them came the Jaguars. Not from the jungle, but from under the ash. First one, then 5, then dozens. They looked different now. Their bodies were darker, with lines of metal visible beneath their skin. Their golden eyes seemed to glow brighter in the darkness. "They didn't die," Ji-woo said in wonder. "They were hiding." The lead Jaguar approached Do-yoon. It stood taller than before, its muscles rippling under its changed skin. It looked at the humans, then back at the ash field where more Jaguars continued to emerge. Han-bin checked his scanner. Their biology has changed. They've adapted again. They're stronger now. They waited in the ash, Do-yoon realized. They let the Sexeri think they won. The Jaguar made a sound like a low growl. Through the ash field, more golden eyes appeared, watching, waiting. The Sexeri had burned the jungle. Now the Jaguars would make them pay. Morning revealed the full extent of the destruction. The ash field stretched for kilometers in all directions. Du Yun climbed to the top of the crashed ship to get a better view. The shield dome still hummed around their camp, a blue bubble in a sea of gray. How much longer will the shields last? He asked Minho. 3 days, maybe 4, Minho replied. The generators are overheating. Taiho joined them, his face grim. We spotted Sexuri ground forces at the edge of the burn zone. They're coming to check if we're dead. Du Yun nodded slowly. And when they find us alive, they'll attack again, Taiho finished. Below them, Han Bin was examining one of the changed Jaguars. The creature allowed him to scan its body and take small samples. Ji Woo watched through her communication device as images flashed between her and the Jaguar. Captain, Han Bin called up. You need to see this. Do Yun climbed down to join them. Han Bin held up his scanner, showing a detailed image of the Jaguar's internal structure. Look at this, he said, pointing to shiny lines running through the Jaguar's body. The metal strands from the jungle network have become part of them. They're inside their muscles, their bones, even their brains. What does it mean? Du Yun asked. They've evolved. Han Bin's voice was full of wonder. When the Sexuri burned the jungle, these Jaguars took the network into themselves. They're not just animals anymore. They're something new. Jagu showed them images from her device. They've been watching us, learning from us. The jungle entity has been studying our technology through the Jaguar's eyes. The lead Jaguar stepped forward. Its body was almost a head taller than the others, with visible bands of metal running along its sides. It touched its nose to Ji Woo's device, and new images appeared. They saw human tools, weapons, and machines. Then the images changed to show Jaguars with similar features, parts of their bodies shaped like human technology. They're copying us, Du Yun realized, taking our designs and adapting them into their own bodies. Han Bin nodded excitedly. The jungle entity must have incredible control over their evolution. It's changing them rapidly, using what they learned from us. More Jaguars gathered around, at least 100 now. Their bodies varied. Some had what looked like armor plates, others had limbs reinforced with metal. All had those same intelligent golden eyes. They want to fight the Sexuri, Ji Woo said, reading the images from her device. But they need our help. Our help? Taho asked. What can we do that they can't? Han Bin's eyes lit up with an idea. Our minds. Our strategies. The jungle entity is incredibly powerful, but it thinks differently than we do. It doesn't understand warfare like humans do. You want us to teach Jaguars how to fight. Taho sounded skeptical. Not just teach them, Han Bin replied. Work with them. Join with them. Do Yun looked at the lead Jaguar. Its golden eyes seemed to hold a question. Show me what you mean, he said to Han Bin. Han Bin took a small device from his pocket, a neural interface used for medical scans. This can read brain patterns. If we modify it, maybe we can share thoughts directly. Not just simple images, but complex ideas. Is that safe? Du Yun asked. No, Han Bin admitted. But neither is waiting for the Sexuri to come back and finish us off. Du Yun looked at the ash field, then at the approaching dust cloud in the distance. Sexuri ground forces moving toward them. They had maybe a day before they arrived. Do it, he said. The lead Jaguar stepped forward and lowered its head. Du Yun placed his hand on its neck. The metal strands under the Jaguar's skin moved slightly, reaching toward his fingers. Ready? Han Bin asked, holding the neural device. Du Yun nodded. Let's see what we can learn from each other. The device activated with a soft hum. Du Yun's eyes widened as his mind touched something vast and ancient, the consciousness of the jungle itself, speaking through its Jaguar guardian. Two different worlds began to understand each other. Du Yun gasped as the connection broke. He staggered back, supported by Taiho. Are you okay? Ji Woo asked, concerned. Yes, Du Yun said, his voice shaky. It's just so much. The jungle entity is old, thousands of years old. It has memories of the planet before the Sexury came. The lead Jaguar watched him with knowing eyes. Around them, the other Jaguars moved restlessly, sensing the approaching danger. "What did you learn?" Hanbin asked. "The Sexury have destroyed almost 20% of the jungle over the past 10 years. Each time, the jungle adapts, but not fast enough. The Jaguars are its best defense, but they need help." "Help with what?" Tahoe asked. "Strategy. Technology." Du Yun looked at the lead Jaguar. "The jungle can change the Jaguars' bodies, make them stronger, faster, but it doesn't understand things like electromagnetic pulses or targeting systems." Min Ho stepped forward. "I might have an idea." He knelt beside the Jaguar and showed it a small device. "This is an EM pulse generator. We use them for scanning, but with modifications, they could disrupt Sexury technology." The Jaguar looked at the device, then at Min Ho. Its eyes seemed to glow brighter for a moment. "They understand," Du Yun said. "The jungle wants to work with us." Su Jin Yun, their military specialist, joined the group. She had been quiet until now, watching the Jaguars with suspicion. Now she looked at them with new interest. "If we can equip them with our technology," she said, "or if they can adapt it into their bodies somehow, we might have a fighting chance." For the rest of the day, the humans and Jaguars worked together. Min Ho and Su Jin built small devices that could generate targeted electromagnetic pulses. Han Bin studied how the Jaguars' bodies could integrate with the technology. Jewu used her communication device to share information between the groups. She showed the Jaguars maps of Sexury weak points that Taiho's team had observed. The ground shook as the Sexury forces drew closer. Their machines could be heard in the distance, great grinding sounds like monsters coming to eat them. "They'll be here by morning," Taiho reported after scouting. "At least 50 ground troops and 10 of those big mining machines." Do Yun looked at their preparations. 20 modified EM pulse devices, 30 humans who could fight, about 150 Jaguars of various sizes and adaptations. "It doesn't seem like enough," he said softly. The lead Jaguar approached him. It had changed even more since that morning, its body now covered in patterns that looked like circuit boards. It touched its head to Du Yun's hand, inviting another connection. Han Bin activated the neural device. This time, Du Yun was ready for the rush of ancient thoughts. But something was different now. The jungle entity seemed more focused, more human in its thinking. "It's learning from us," Han Bin said, watching his readings. "Adapting its way of thinking, just like it adapts the Jaguars' bodies." When the connection ended, Du Yun looked at the others with new determination. "The jungle has a plan," he said. "It wants us to focus on the Sexury weapons while the Jaguars attack from below." "Below?" Tahoe asked. "The ash field isn't just ash," Du Yun explained. "The metal network survived underneath. The Jaguars can move through it like swimming. They'll attack from below, while we distract the Sexury." Su Jin nodded slowly. A classic pincer movement. Hit them from multiple sides at once. As night fell, the colonists prepared for battle. Children and those who couldn't fight were placed in the deepest shelter. Everyone else took positions around the camp. The Jaguars moved out into the ash field, their golden eyes the only light in the darkness. Soon they disappeared from sight, hiding beneath the ash. Du Yun stood with his people, watching the distant lights of the approaching Sexury. "Get some rest," he told them. "Tomorrow, we fight for our new home." The lead Jaguar gave one last look at the humans before slipping away into the ash. Its message was clear. Tomorrow they would stand together. Dawn broke with an ugly red light. The Sexury forces appeared at the edge of the ash field. Tall machines with spinning blades and glowing weapons. Behind them marched the Sexury soldiers in their armor that shone blue in the morning light. "They're here," Taiho said, lowering his binoculars. 53 soldiers, 12 machines, and something big at the back. Do Yun looked where Taiho pointed. A massive vehicle moved slowly behind the Sexury forces, It looked like a tank but bigger, with a cannon that glowed with orange energy. "That's new," Du Yun said. "The Jaguars haven't seen that before." Minho checked his devices one last time. The electromagnetic pulse generators were ready, attached to the shield towers around the camp. "Remember," Du Yun told the defenders, "we need to hold them for as long as possible. Give the Jaguars time to get into position." The colonists took cover behind walls made from ship parts. They had only 20 guns between them, but also had Minho's pulse generators and some makeshift explosives. The Sexeri stopped 300 meters from the camp. A voice boomed across the ash field, translated into choppy Korean. "Humans, your time is indeed. Leave now, or be destroyed." "We can't leave," Du Yun called back. "This is our home now." There was silence for a moment. Then the Sexeri voice returned. "Then you will die with this dead world." The Sexeri forces moved forward. Their machines rolled over the ash, leaving deep tracks. The soldiers marched in perfect lines, weapons ready. "Wait," Du Yun ordered his people. "Let them get closer." At 200 meters, Minho activated the first pulse. A wave of invisible energy washed over the Sexeri. 3 of their smaller machines stopped moving, their lights going dark. The Sexeri soldiers paused, surprised. Then they charged forward, firing their weapons. Energy blasts hit the shield dome, making it flicker. "Return fire," Tahoe ordered. The colonists fired their guns. A few Sexeri fell, but most kept coming. Their armor protected them from the human bullets. "The shield is failing," Minho shouted over the noise. "One more hit from that big cannon, and it's gone." The Sexeri tank-like vehicle moved forward. Its cannon glowed brighter as it prepared to fire. "Now," Du Yun yelled into his radio. "Tell them now." Jitwoo, who had been communicating with the Jaguars through her device, sent the signal. For a moment, nothing happened. The Sexeri continued their advance. The big cannon was almost ready to fire. Then the ash field came alive. The ground erupted as Jaguars burst from beneath the ash. They moved like lightning, their metal-enhanced bodies gleaming in the morning light. They attacked the Sexeri from behind and below, pulling soldiers down into the ash. The Sexeri broke formation, turning to fight this new threat. But the Jaguars were too fast, disappearing back under the ash only to emerge somewhere else. "It's working," Tahoe shouted. The colonists pressed their advantage, firing at the confused Sexeri. Minho activated another pulse, disabling more of their machines. But the Sexeri recovered quickly. Their commander shouted orders, and the soldiers formed a defensive circle. They fired into the ash, trying to hit the hidden Jaguars. The big cannon turned and fired not at the human camp, but at the ash field itself. The blast dug a deep crater, exposing the metal network below. "They're targeting the network," Han Bin realized. "They know." The battle grew fiercer. Su Jin led a group of fighters to the right flank, trying to draw fire away from the main ash field. She moved with skill and bravery, taking down 3 Sexeri soldiers. Then a blast caught her in the side. She fell, badly wounded. 2 colonists ran to drag her to safety while others covered them. The Jaguars changed tactics. Instead of attacking from below, they gathered in groups and rushed the Sexeri all at once. Their evolved bodies could now withstand some of the alien weapons. The lead Jaguar, bigger than a horse now with metal spines along its back, crashed into the Sexeri ranks. It tore through armor like paper with claws that glowed with electromagnetic energy. Minho's design, adapted by the jungle entity. "We're winning," Du Yun said in disbelief as more Sexeri fell. Then the big cannon turned toward them again. The shield was almost gone. One direct hit would destroy the camp and everyone in it. "Everyone down," Tahoe shouted. The cannon fired. Time seemed to slow as the cannon's energy blast cut through the air. At the last second, something massive leaked in front of the camp. The lead Jaguar, its body now twice its original size, took the full force of the blast. It was thrown backward, crashing through the weakened shield and landing inside the camp. The shield failed completely, flickering out like a dying light. "No," Jiwoo cried, running to the fallen Jaguar. Do-yoon and Hanbin followed her. The Jaguar's body was badly damaged, metal and flesh torn open, but its golden eyes still burned with life. Through the broken shield, they saw the Sexari reloading their cannon for a final shot. There would be no surviving a direct hit. "We need a new plan," Do-yoon said urgently. "Now." Minho looked up from his equipment, the colony ship's emergency beacon. "If we could send a signal that the Sexari would understand." "What kind of signal?" Taiho asked. Hanbin's eyes widened as he understood. "The jungle. It's not just this area. The metal network must extend across the whole planet." "Can we prove that?" Do-yoon asked. "Yes. My scans show it goes deep, maybe across the entire world. If the Sexari knew they were fighting a whole planet." Do-yoon made his decision. "Minho, come with me. We're going to the ship. Everyone else, keep fighting." As Do-yoon and Minho raced toward the crashed ship, the battle continued. The Jaguars fought with desperate courage. More Sexari fell, but their big cannon was almost ready to fire again. Inside the ship, Do-yoon and Minho found the emergency beacon. It had been damaged in the crash but could still work. "We need to change its signal to something the Sexari will understand," Minho explained as he opened its control panel, "and boost its power." "How long?" Do-yoon asked, hearing the battle outside. 5 minutes, maybe less." Outside, the cannon began to glow orange again. The Sexari commander ordered all fire to concentrate on the human camp. Without the shield, the colonists had only makeshift barriers for protection. Hanbin knelt beside the fallen lead Jaguar, trying to help it. To his surprise, the metal strands in its body began to move, repairing the damage. "It's healing itself," he told Jiwoo, "but not fast enough." The Jaguar's eyes locked with Hanbin's. A connection formed between them without the neural device. Hanbin gasped as knowledge flowed into his mind. In the ship, Minho made the final connections to the beacon. "Ready," he called to Do-yoon. "This will send images of the planet's neural network to every Sexari ship in orbit." Do-yoon pressed the activation button. The beacon hummed to life, sending its message to the stars. Outside, the Sexari cannon reached full power. The commander gave the order to fire. But before it could, the ground began to shake. Not just near the camp, but everywhere. The whole ash field trembled. From deep below, something massive was awakening. The metal network that had been hidden beneath the ash suddenly erupted upward. Millions of silver strands burst through the surface, growing and twisting together. They formed towers, arches, and walls that rose higher than the trees that once stood there. The Sexari froze in confusion. Their cannons' aim shifted as the ground under it heaved. In orbit, the Sexari ships received the beacon's message. Their sensors confirmed what the images showed. The entire planet was alive, a single vast organism with a neural network spanning the globe. The commander's voice crackled over their communication system. "Re-TURE-8. All forces re-TURE-8. This planet is protected by galactic law." The Sexari began to pull back, their machines grinding as they tried to escape the rising metal structures. Many were caught and crushed as the planet itself fought back. Do-yoon watched in awe as the ash field transformed. The metal structures grew higher, and between them, green shoots appeared, new jungle growth, accelerated by the planet's power. The lead Jaguar stood beside Jiwoo, healed and transformed, its body now perfectly balanced between animal and machine. Its golden eyes watched as its ancient enemy fled. 3 months later, the jungle had reclaimed much of the burned area. The humans had built a permanent settlement named New Seoul among the trees. They lived in harmony with the jungle, helping it grow with their knowledge of farming and ecology. Do Yoon stood on a hill overlooking their new home. Beside him, the lead Jaguar watched as human children played with young Jaguars in a garden built where ash once lay. "They'll never come back, will they?" Ji-woo asked, joining them. "No," Do-yoon said. "The beacon still broadcasts. Any ship approaching this world receives the same message." In the sky above them, a small object orbited the planet, a warning that this world was not to be touched. Its message was simple but clear. This planet is protected. The Jaguars wait in the ash.